Welcome to Let's Talk Investing. My name is Karen Newton. I'm the founder of Karen Newton International, which is a global education company for business and finance. So I've been talking recently around choices, how the choices that you make actually determine your level of wealth. And today I want to keep that theme going by talking about how you can change the choices that you make and how you can break that mold of the choices. Because one of the things that people fail to realize, and I use the word fail, and I will quite easily say most people fail to realize, is that we are all preconditioned with the way we react. We might think that we have freedom of thought and the way we process things, but from the time we're born, we are actually preconditioned as to how we react to things, how we see things. And that comes down to some of what our parents did, what they do, the way they influence us, to the people that we associate, the things we watch on television. All those things are actually programming us and putting restrictions on the way that we react and the choices that we make. So I want to talk today about breaking the mold. Now, I was born in 1959, and my mum, the first thing she actually kept telling me and drilling into me is that I would be told a lot of things that I wasn't to accept. She told me that as a woman, there would be restrictions on me, the things I could do, what I would be allowed to do, and that I should ignore those restrictions and go out and do anything that I wanted to do. And I guess that came from her era. You know, my mum was born in the 1930s. She grew up during the Second World War. She was evacuated from where she lived in Britain during the war to another location. My father was exactly the same. Both were evacuees. And that had a huge impact because they were taught to conform to the rules around protecting yourself during the war. So she had a lot of restrictions that were necessary for protection. However, those restrictions were then enforced through schooling, through her whole life. And it was her determination that I was not going to have those restrictions placed on me, that I went out, I made my decisions. Nobody was allowed to tell me that I could or couldn't do something. My father reinforced that by every time I used the word can't, I can't do this, he would look at me and he had an old dictionary. And that dictionary did not have the word can't in it. And he knew that. And he would give me the dictionary. And every time I said can't, he would say to me, look it up in the dictionary and tell me what can't means. And I would look the word up, or I would try to look the word up, and it was not in the dictionary. And his explanation was, there is no such word as can't. There is only one, that you don't want to do it, in which case get off your backside and go and do it now. Or There is that you don't know how to do it, in which case, ask for help and learn how to do it. And so they were the philosophies that I grew up with. The mold, as I said, I was born in 1959, and women got married, they had kids, they were the housewife. I had parents who said, no, you're going to go and you're going to do whatever it is that you want to do. And so that meant that instantly this mold of conformity that was in society was broken for me. I had to think of things differently. So when I was at school, and something that I enforced with my own daughter when she was at school, was changing that thinking around go to school, get a job, get good grades, go to university, get a good job. That was society insisting that I conform. Whereas by breaking the conformity, yes, I went to school, and yes, I did do my best at school. But for me, the best was when I became an entrepreneur. That was my life. I absolutely love being an entrepreneur because I have the freedom to make the choices, determine what is best for me. Now, it doesn't mean I didn't enjoy working. I did have jobs and I followed the rules for the jobs. Yes, that was because I wanted the job. I wanted that career. An accident took me away from a path that had been created and threw me into needing to become an entrepreneur for a way of survival. And that is where the lessons that my mum and dad taught me around the choices that I could make, determining where I wanted to be, doing what was important to me, actually came right to the forefront. And those lessons were so important in determining how do I get from A to B? How do I achieve what I want? And it comes down to those choices. Break the mold that is holding you in place. Look at the choices that you are currently making. And if you feel you can't make those choices, then work out what you need to do so you can make the choices that you want to make. Education became an important, really important part of my life. And when I left school, I said, no, I've been in school all these years. I do not want to be learning anymore. I don't want to be taking exams. However, I soon found that I could learn. I needed to learn. I wanted to do things and I didn't know how to do those things. And I almost became a full-time student around work. I was almost every night at university doing night classes to get the education that I needed, that I wanted, that allowed me to make the choices for me. And even today, every year, I am learning new things. I am always on courses. I work with coaches. I have mentors, all those people who help me learn the information that gets me where I want to be. And that's a choice that I make to get that information, to absorb as much information as I can so I have the skills and the knowledge to do the things that I want to do. So when we look at those choices that are around us, is society determining your pathway instead of you determining where you're going to go? Have you been pre-programmed to do certain things? Have you been taught to conform to society's idea of what you should be doing? Now, I'm not talking about, you know, going out and ending up in jail, right? That is not the sort of thing that I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is breaking the preconditioning that you have so that you can achieve what it is you truly want. If you want wealth, then there are barriers that have been preconditioned into you that are holding you back from achieving that wealth. If you have a certain lifestyle that you want, what are the preconditioning, and again, I'll use the word barriers, that needs to be broken, needs to be changed, that will allow you to create that lifestyle that you want. And the first step in doing that is in understanding that everybody has conditioning. Now, a friend of mine who is a psychologist, she's a renowned author, she talks about having a mobile phone and seeing all the apps that are on the phone. And what she talks about is how with a mobile phone, you can take an app off and you can delete it and replace it with one that works. And that is the same with breaking that mold of preconceived ideas that you have, of the preconditioning that you have around you, that really stops you from making those choices. And wealth, lifestyle, all of it comes down to choice. So I hope that is clearing up some of the stuff around building wealth and lifestyle that are some of the barriers that we have to break. We have to break those preconceived ideas, the barriers, the conditioning that we have around conformity. We do need to break those so that we can determine what it is that we want. Do we want wealth? Do we want lifestyle? Do we want both of them? And make the choices that allow us to achieve those.